After 70 years, the James Dean mystery was finally solved. And it's worse than Wa thought. James Dean was born James Byron Dean on February 8, 1931, in the small factory town of Marion, Indiana, USA. His parents were Winton Dean and Mildred Wilson. Winton used to work in a farm, but he decided to change jobs and become someone who fixes teeth to make more money and have a better life for his family. This move showed what many American families want during the early 1900s. They want to better. Lives through school and learning new job skills. When the Dean family moved from country Indianato, California, it changed young James' life a lot. He got to see new things, had chances that were very different from his small-town home. Once in California, James Dean went to Brentwood Public School. For a short time, this early school time was important, but he wasn't a super smart student. Helator went to McKinley Elementary School, where his grades were just okay or not very good. He didn't stand out as a really great student in regular school subjects, but this didn't show how complicated he really was. He had creative and deep feelings that weren't shown by his grades. James had a very close and special relationship with his mother, Mildred. He often felt she was the only person who really got him and saw past how he acted on the outside too. His sensitive and intense inside feelings. This relationship was sadly cut short when Mildred got very sick with cancer. She died from the sickness when James was just 9 years old. Losing her really affected him for his whole life. The sadness of losing his mother when he was so young left a lasting mark on his mind. It made him both hurt and want to find meaning through acting and art. During his teenage years, James Dean went to Fairmont High School, where he started to fit in socially and with the culture there. His friends liked him, and he played sports, both baseball and basketball. Playing sports showed he liked to compete and wanted to connect with other people. Buth was interested in more than just sports. James also took drama classes and got better at speaking in front of people. This showed Helabet performing and telling stories early on. He finished Fairmont High School in 1949. This was a big moment that ended his teenage years and started him focusing more on what he wanted to do. After high school, James signed up for Santa Monica College. At first, he wanted to study to become a lawyer. This choice might have been what other people expected, or what his family hoped for, a safe job. But while he was at SMC, he realized that becoming a lawyer didn't match what Herali loved. His heart wanted Tobe in the world of acting. A path that would let him explore human feelings and what people really are more deeply. So Hess switched to the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where he changed what he studied to drama. This brave choice made his father upset because he didn't like how acting jobs weren't steady and were uncertain. Their disagreement created a split between father and son. They didn't talk for a while, which showed how much James was willing to give up for his art. While studying at UCLA, James Dean's talent started to show more clearly. Out of 350 actors trying out for Thepard of Malcolm in a play of Shakespeare's Macbeth, he got picked. Getting this part proved he had real ability and was getting better on stage, even though he did well early on. James didn't finish his college degree. In 1951, he quit school to focus completely on trying to become a professional actor, which was very hard to do. James Dean's start in the entertainment business was small. He first appeared on TV in a commercial for Pepsi-Cola. It was short but very important because it got him started on television. Soon after, he got a small part in funny movie Sailors Beware, which had famous comedians Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin in it. These early years were hard because he didn't have much money and wasn't sure what would happen. Dean often worked part-time jobs. Stute had nothing to do with acting, just to pay for food and rent. This was a normal story for many people wanting to become actors trained to make it in Hollywood. Because he wanted to get better at acting, James moved to New York City, which was a place for serious acting training. There he signed up for the well-known Actors Studio, where he learned from Lee Strasberg, a famous acting teacher made method, acting popular in the United States. This hard training focused on showing real emotions and making characters feel real. This training changed how Dean acted later on. While he was studying, he worked as Sumayon, who tested stunts on the game show Beat the Clock. This let him make money while staying close to the entertainment business. During the early 1950s, James Dean built up his resume with small parts in different TV shows. He slowly got more experience and people noticed him, too, on anthology shows like Family Theater and The Bigelow Theater in 1951, the CBS Television Workshop in 1952, and the Hallmark Hall of Fame that same year. These appearances were small but showed he was getting more versatile and dedicated. His stage career also got better. During this time, in 1952, he starred in an off-Broadway play of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, which was a mind-bending intense play about a man who mysteriously turns into a horrible bug-like creature. The part made Dean explore complicated ideas of feeling left out and who he was, which matched his personal interests and acting style. In 1954, he was on Broadway in The Immoralist, a bold drama about a man fighting with his attraction to men while being married to a woman. The play was shocking for that Timon showed. Dean was willing to work with challenging material. He also acted in another off-Broadway play, The Scarecrow, which told a dark story of a woman who says magic to bring a scarecrow to life. Revenge on a former boyfriend who left her when she was pregnant. These theater roles showed Dean's commitment to exploring deeply human and often troubled characters. James Dean's big break in Hollywood came in 1955 with movie East of Eden, where he played Cal Trask, a young man dealing with feelings of not being good enough and a difficult relationship with his father, who liked Cal's more stable and successful brother, Aaron, better. This was Dean's first big movie role, and his emotionally powerful performance got great praise, making him a rising star with serious acting skills. That same year, Dean gave what will become his most famous performance in Rebel Without a Cause, playing the part of Jim Stark, a troubled teenager fighting with feeling left out and family problems. Dean captured the spirit of 1950s young people's culture. The movie aerially connected with teenage audiences who saw themselves in Jim's rebellion and hurt feelings. This role made Dean's legacy as a cultural icon and symbol of young anger certain, making him a lasting figure in American movies and popular culture. James Dean's sexuality has long been something people were curious about and talked about in Hollywood circles and among fans, showing the complexity and mystery thoughts surrounded his life. During a time we opened talks about sexuality were often forbidden, especially in the conservative atmosphere of 1950s America. Dean's private life became a fertile ground for guessing. Decades after his tragic death, William Bast, one of Dean's closest friends and people he trusted, made a shocking revelation added new sides to the actor's personal story. Bast told people that their friendship had sometimes turned into a sexual relationship. This honest admission not only challenged the strictly straight story that Hollywood often preferred, but also shed light on how fluid Dean's desires and emotional connections were. Bast's revelation helped make Dean more human in a way that went beyond celebrity gossip, showing him as a young man dealing with complicated feelings in a restrictive social setting. Despite this part of his personal life, James Dean was also known to have dated several women, showing that his romantic life had many sides rather than fitting into just one category. Among the women he was connected to were Beverly Wills, a bright and charming actress, Barbara Glenn, who is known for her own acting career, And Liz Sheridan, would later become famous for her role in the TV series Seinfeld. These relationships, though maybe less talked about at the time, show that Dean was very much involved in the social and romantic world of Hollywood. Making meaningful connections with women who appreciated his charm and depth, maybe the most famous and talked about. Dean's romantic relationships was his passionate love affair with Pier Angeli, a gorgeous Italian actress who was celebrated for her beauty and talent. Their relationship fascinated the media and the public alike. Not only because of their intense chemistry, but also because it seemed to represent the tragic star-crossed romance that Dean's life often brought up. Pier Angeli's glamorous presence and international appeal brought a different side to Dean's world. Mixing his story with European movies and culture, the affair was marked by deep emotional intensity and was widely reported in the press, making Dean's image as artless and passionate young man caught between the pressures of fame and his own desires even stronger. James Dean has remained one of Hollywood's most lasting and mysterious icons for over 7 decades. His name alone brings up the raw energy, youthful rebellion, and tragic promise of a star who burned too bright and dissipated too soon. Despite the decades that have passed since his early death in 1955, many questions and rumors have swirled around what happened during his deadly car crash. For years, fans, people who write books, and investigators have tried to put together what really happened on that fateful day, when Dean's Porsche 550 Spider crashed into another car on the back roads of California. But after 70 years, new evidence and investigations have finally brought clarity to the mystery. And what they found is far more disturbing and complicated than anyone imagined. First, the stories around James Dean's death have long been clouded by guessing and making it sound romantic. Many stories painted the crash as a tragic accident. A cruel twist of fatty thought took a promising young actor at the height of what he could. But recent discoveries challenged this simple story, uncovering parts of carelessness, recklessness, and possibly even someone doing something bad on purpose. The new findings showed that the crash was not just a case of bad luck or a single mistake, but rather a series of poor choices and dangerous situations that spiraled into disaster. One of the most shocking discoveries is about the condition of Dean's car itself. The Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard, was a high-performance racing car not built for regular street driving. Experts now believe that Dean's car was mechanically broken with bad brakes and steering problems that made it very hard to control at speeds Dean was driving. Despite warnings from his mechanic and fellow racers, Dean insisted on driving the car himself, not understanding how dangerous both the machine and the dangerous roads he chose were. This reckless confidence was a deadly flaw, but it shows Dean's larger-than-life personality, a man who often took risks without fully thinking about consequences. In addition to mechanical problems, the other driver involved in the collision, young college student named Donald Turnipseed, was driving a regular Ford two-door sedan. Investigations have shown that while Turnipseed did try to avoid collision, poor visibility and unclear road markings contributed to the crash. For decades, some people blame Turnipseed for causing the crash, but recent studies make it clear that responsibility shared and that Turnipseed was also a victim of unfortunate circumstances. This makes the story more complicated, painting Itless as a clear-cut accident caused by on party and more as a tragedy born of multiple human errors and environmental effects. Even more upsetting is the discovery of alleged cover-ups in the immediate aftermath. Records and U.S. accounts reveal that local authorities and certain parties involved may have hidden or changed details to protect reputations or avoid legal consequences. This hiding of information made the mystery last longer, allowing myths and conspiracies to grow. What these cover-ups mean suggests a darker side to Hollywood, and law enforcement of thought time. A willingness to hide inconvenient truths in favor of keeping celebrity images and public peace. Furthermore, the mental state of James Dean leading up to the crash adds another layer of complication. Interviews with friends, family, and coworkers indicate that Dean was under tremendous pressure from his skyrocketing fame and was dealing with personal demons, including using drugs and emotional problems. His reckless driving may have been a symptom of this deeper instability, a sign of a man pushing boundaries both on and off screen. This makes Dean more human beyond the mythical without a cause personality. Ravi Linga, vulnerable individual struggling with burdens of sudden stardom. The cultural impact of this revelation is profound. For decades, James Dean's death was shrouded in mystery, which in part fueled his legendary status as a tragic icon of youth and rebellion. Now that the truth is more fully exposed, the public must deal with a more complicated and unsettling reality. Rather than a romanticized accident, Dean's death becomes a warning story of both dangers of pride, the consequence of ignoring warnings, and the human cost behind Hollywood glamour. In conclusion, after 70 years of mystery, the full story behind James Dean's death finally comes out from the shadows. The new evidence reveals a much grimmer truth than the one long believed, a tragedy fueled by mechanical failure, risky decisions, human error, and deliberating of facts. While this knowledge may shatter some illusions, it also deepens our understanding of the complicated man behind legend and the fatal fragility of fame and youth. James Dean's legacy remains untarnished in its power, but now it carries with it a sharper reminder of the tragic vulnerabilities hidden beneath the Hollywood spotlight.